Welcome back to Whitt Acres. Today I want to get my gourds planted up on the pergola and a few other things done here in the gardens. Huh, pup, you ready to get some work done, buddy? Huh? No, you just want belly rubs? Alright, I can accommodate that. We're not going to be doing anything too specific today. We're going to be doing a variety of things, but I figured you'd want to come along anyhow. All around the property right now, the orange daylilies are starting to open up, adding color everywhere. We have the yellow poppies here, and even some volunteer poppies over here on the edge of the sidewalk. And the blue Chinese forget-me-not over here on the pond is volunteered and looking gorgeous right now. The bees have been loving it. Oh, and the mum is blooming in the pot here. I should have planted that. And there's definitely some weeding I have to do here. My sempervivum's getting covered up by weeds and vine. But check out all these bees on the Chinese forget-me-not. They love the tiny flowers. The lupin is finishing up here going to seed. I gotta get those stalks cut off, and you can see the volunteer sunflowers have stretched up over 6 feet tall. They've taken over as the main feature here on the pond bank. With the warm weather that we've been having and no rain, we've been getting some hair algae here in the pond. Nothing really more than usual, but we have some up here at the waterfall, and you can tell I've been cleaning out. Oh, the geyser. You can tell I've been cleaning out this side. You can actually see the gravel down here by Goldie Hawn and all the way down the 4-foot deep section over here, but the geyser just started making ripples. Huh, Dabbles, you want to come out and play, bud? I'd really like to walk you around so you could swim in the pond. I let them out each day so they can run around here in free range, but I haven't been able to walk them all the way around to the beach. They always get scared and take off running back to their shelter. But you can see 4 feet down to the bottom here. We have some ripples from the aerator here, but the largemouth bass is in there with the koi. We have Dorothy, the white one. We have Yang, the spotted black one, and Goldie Hawn, the gold one. Oh, there's the bluegill. So I do have 2 bluegill in here, but I think the last time we had the pond all the way up to level whenever we were getting a heavy rain, the bluegill swam into the bog filter up here. So he's actually living in the barrel right now. He hasn't been able to swim back over the ledge since we haven't been able to get enough rain to fill in the gap here. And I think that couldn't be more of a natural feature of the pond. Whenever we get a nice heavy rain and the wet season comes back, he'll be able to swim back into the large section of the pond. We pretty much have everything living in this section. We do the main section of the pond. The tadpoles, the minnows, the goldfish, they're all in here with the 1 bluegill. And in the stone here, we have a 55-gallon drum buried in here. So there's plenty of water volume. Plus, this is where the water gets pumped into. So there's 2,000 gallons to 5,000 gallons an hour getting pumped into this section and the jets. So in other words, he's perfectly safe in there. And all the volunteer calendula is starting to bloom, which is nice to have that here on the pond bank since I didn't get any annuals planted. But the Pugster buddleia bush right here is actually starting to bloom as well, so we're going to get some color off of that, some nice purple. I did put a volunteer snapdragon down there at the base. Barely can see it though, but the Asiatic lilies are starting to bloom as well, and those are in a lot of gardens. Pop. But anyway, I'm really late on getting my gourds in the ground, but I had to get them started from seed, and I'm hoping late is better than never. We have more orange daylilies right here by the greenhouse, and these need some water. Oh, it is hot in the greenhouse. I'm going to get these some water here by the pond, and then I'm going to get their planting area set up before I move them. I'm actually adding a little bit of water to the pond right now because we haven't had rain in a long time, and I just did a pond cleaning, so I wanted to add some fresh water to it. I believe these are mostly birdhouse gourds, but I might have planted something different in this tray. It doesn't really matter. I just want gourds dangling from the pergola. Mumbles and the ducks are out at the pond foraging right now. I am planning on expanding that pond for the ducks, but that'll probably be on the homestead channel since that's mainly the duck pond. It'll be a part of my south garden, but we'll get out there on this channel whenever there's some planting to do. But let's head up to the pergola garden and get a planting area ready for these gourds. You coming, pup? I also picked up some marble. I ran out. I only had 1 bag for this, and I'm definitely going to need a second one. But I grabbed a couple bags of marble so I can get the 2 pathways here coming off the driveway into the yard refreshened up. And I think I'm going to need like 10 or 12 out there for the island pathway. It's a process, piece by piece. Out here in the pergola garden, we're starting to get a really nice look. It's not really a jungle look like I wanted to go for, but the silver lace vine is blooming here. It's one of the fastest growing vines in the world, and it has a pretty nice bloom to it. It even has a light fragrance. Some people don't like it, but I don't mind it. At the base here, we have the pink Asiatic lily that has a beautiful fragrance to it. I've been real careful not to decapitate that this year. Right behind that, we have a massive echinacea that's getting pretty tall. It's already about 5 feet tall. But this is not a garden tour. We're trying to get something done here. Try and stay focused. I really need to cover up this wall with some gourds. So we're going to be planting the gourds right around the base here. I need to get a rake out so I can pull all the wood chips away, get access to the soil. And then I am going to use some garden soil I have in a bag to amend the hole whenever I plant this. Try and give it the best start. This left side wall, I already gave that to the silver lace vine. It's covering up nicely, so I just need to cover up this back wall. And if I have any more, we'll go around the corner. The only dahlias we have here on the property are popping up. And the volunteer sunflowers back here are doing well, and we have the calla lilies that are going to be blooming here soon. A whole row of them coming down this side. But here behind the red trumpet vine, I want to fill up this trellis as well, so any extra we're going to go around the corner here. And it looks like the firelight hydrangea is starting to bloom here. That's going to look nice. And here's the first calla lily bloom in the row. Beautiful purple. They're not all the same color. Another fragrant pink Asiatic lily right here, matching the one on the other side. And I haven't got the hammock up in the pergola. I can't find where I put it. And unfortunately, the timing didn't work out for all the peony blooms. We didn't really get a lot of that on camera this year. We got some of it in the background to other videos, but I didn't have a dedicated garden tour at that time. I kind of got busy with some homestead stuff, but I'm trying to bring you along for everything I can. We're actually coming into yucca blooms right now. A bunch of the yuccas are starting to bloom on the property. We also have the Shasta daisies that are white. They're coming into bloom. We have a whole hedge right here. And the variegated feather reed grass is putting on some color. Gorgeous. And not to get too far off topic here, but the orange daylilies are blooming beautifully here along the driveway. Looking gorgeous. All right, let's try and stay focused here. Let's get these gourds planted. I opened up 7 planting spaces here on the back of the pergola. I'm gonna go ahead and get the gourds in the ground. Then I can see how many I have, and I'll see how many holes I have to dig around the corner. Come on, pup. Alright, I got 7 gourds in on the backside of the pergola here. I picked the largest seedlings so I could try and get this backside covered as quick as possible. They're right at a prime time to start taking off here. We're going to have a lot of hot days, which they're just going to love, and they're going to do a lot better now that they're in the ground. I just want to bring up a watering can and get these watered in real nice before I backfill with the mulch. Now, I don't really fancy myself a teacher. I'm still learning a lot of the stuff here in the gardens. So I've only been gardening for a few years now. I don't pretend to know everything. That's why you don't see a lot of tutorials or anything on my channel. I'm not really trying to teach. I much more see myself myself in a building and learning phase of life than a teaching phase. But I know a lot of you watching just want to know some basics of gardening, and I can help with that. So just to explain a little bit of what I'm doing here, I have some gourd seeds that I saved seeds from last year, all my gourds that I grew. I started them in some seed starting mix in these trays and got them going. And now to get them really growing, we're going to get them into the ground and send them up the trellis. This area where the pergola was a lot of spruce trees, so there's just a lot of pine droppings here. So there's a lot of nice soft soil under there, but it's really not perfect to be planting directly into. So I'm using my hori hori. It's a Japanese gardening knife. It means dig dig. And I'm busting up the soil a little bit, trying to get a little container size here that I can plant into. Once I get the soil opened up here, I want to crumble it into some nice fine soil. I just want to open up a big enough planting area I can get a nice soil ball. Something like that. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of this garden soil mix out of a bag that I bought at the store, and I'm just going to amend the hole a little bit. This is going to add a little bit of fertilizer to the hole, and it's also just going to be a nicer medium to hold some moisture close to the small plant. We want to get any bits of wood out of there. Those are just nitrogen stealers. And we want to crumble everything up real small. Pull any weeds out that are close by. That looks pretty good, so we're just going to make a small hole here with our fingers, about the same size as the plug tray. Now these are all pretty small, so I'm just going to pick this one, put my fingers around it like that, pop the bottom with my thumb, let gravity do the rest. It's perfect where the roots are right now. They're ready to start reaching out into the soil. We're just going to plop this guy right in here and backfill with a nice crumbly soil. We're going to leave the ground so there's a little bit of a slope going down to it so it can collect water. And that's pretty much it. We just water her in. And we can backfill with mulch. This will help keep the soil nice and moist instead of the sun drying it out. We don't want to go too deep until it starts growing up bigger. And that's it. And then we do it all over again. Huh, puppy? You getting some shade, bud? Come on, keep walking. Move it. I got works to do, bud. Good. We just got 3 more, buddy. Now this seedling only has its cotyledon leaves. These are the very first leaves that pop out, so it can give the seedling some energy before it actually puts out its true leaves. Every plant will start out with some cotyledon leaves, and then you can see the actual true leaf starting on this one. That one actually has the true shape of the leaf that it's going to have on the plant. And then you can see how it grows out and gets even bigger. Now opposite to the side that that leaf grows on is the side that it's going to shoot out its vine. So that's why I put that leaf facing away from the trellis, because the vine is going to shoot out opposite that leaf and I can send it straight into the trellis. Now this one didn't have its true leaf yet, so I don't know which direction it's going to come out, but it's not that far away from the trellis. It's not really going to matter, but it's just one extra tip to make it easier to get to the trellis. All right, let me finish planting these out. Huh, Pop? We did it, Echo Pup. I just got to get some water before we mulch it. Yeah, good boy. You found some shade over here by the hosta row. These should be blooming here soon. They're starting to put their flower stalks up. Huh, buddy? Yeah, we got to get some water. I just got to get these watered in, then we can backfill the mulch. Now, it's not a terrible thing that I'm getting these in late. They are a tropical plant, so they really like the warmer weather. They're not going to really grow under 50 degrees, and we just had a few nights that dropped down to 50. So these might actually do pretty good, not getting stunted by any of the cold weather. They're just coming straight into summer, so they should get a nice run. And I want to thank the person that sent in the kneeler, getting some good use out of it. I'll get some water here from the pond. And we'll get these watered in, then I want to get that marble spread on those pathways. Alright, that is a weight off my shoulders to get these in the ground. Hopefully they're going to grow up nicely and I can start weaving them up through the lattice. I'm not going to backfill the mulch yet until they get a little bit bigger. I don't want to invite the slugs any closer. But I got them in the ground. Now it's up to Mother Nature. I shut the turkey's heat lamp off, hoping they're doing okay in here. Still plenty warm for you guys, right? Oh, you're starting to huddle together, but you're still panting. I think there's plenty enough body heat in here. You guys can keep yourselves warm. I'll turn it on later tonight. Up, up. It's 93 degrees out right now, so I don't think they need the heat lamp. I'm gonna get this marble spread. It's a simple touch, but I like what it adds to the gardens. Up, up. Alright, pup, let's head down to the vegetable garden and check on the pumpkin. We don't really have any color in the vegetable garden right now. The butterfly bush is going to start putting on some pinks, and then we have the calla lily going to start putting on some pinks and purples, and then the hosta is going to be right behind that putting on some purples. We do have a lot of peas growing right now though. Oh, there's my drink. I was looking for that. In this side of the J bed here, last video we got the potatoes planted, and you can see they're all starting to come up now. They're actually getting pretty tall. I could probably come in with some hay and bury them again. You don't want the sun hitting any part of your potatoes. It'll turn them green and actually cause more of the poison in the skin to come out. So the typical practice is to use hay or straw to keep burying them so none of the potatoes start popping out into the sun. I also got the squash mound all prepared and planted. We had some seeds in there last video and I got them all watered, so they're starting to sprout up now. We have some watermelon coming up right here. And then I have various squashes planted through here. I think blue Hubbard squash is one of them right here. I'm gonna thin these out once they get big enough. We have another one coming up right here. Two more coming over here. I think this is actually a larger marrow. And then I started planting some pumpkins coming down the line here. You can see some of the larger Atlantic Giant pumpkins are coming out of the soil already. This one's looking really good. These are my backup Atlantic Giants, so I'm still hoping to get some decent sized pumpkins out of these. It looks like we had pretty good germination out here, so I'm happy to see these coming up. And like I said, once they get a little bit bigger, I'll come through here and thin them to the best one. And I actually still have 4 empty planting sites here on the mound. Huh, Mumbles? Pretty girl. This fabric is a lot nicer than all the thistle that was here. It's kind of shiny whenever you're looking at it from across the property, but still better than thistle. The daylilies are blooming down here too, and the Royal Empress tree filled out nicely. As you can see, we have a bunch of sunflowers here in the raised beds, but the tomatoes are also down here, and we have some onions that are really big. Look at that, baseball-sized onion already. The tomatoes are about a foot tall and looking pretty healthy, but this isn't a garden tour. I'm trying to stay focused here. I'm working on the giant pumpkin down here, and she is looking gorgeous down here. We're pushing about 12 feet, probably even a little bit more right now. I have all the secondaries coming off, training them around in the Christmas tree pattern, trying to keep everything even. Same thing on the opposite side, everything's looking good. But if we get down in here and look, you can see we have some node points that I don't have covered yet, and I'd like to get them covered like I have the back ones there. Covering the node points allows for more roots to get into the ground, and more roots, bigger pumpkin. So I'm gonna mix up some of this garden soil that I have in the bag here, get it all moistened and wet, and get in here and start burying some nodes. This is one of the more peaceful, enjoyable jobs here in the gardens. I actually gave this a really heavy watering this morning because it was going into about 89 degrees today for the high, and she seems to be responding really well to the heat. You don't even see any wilting on the leaves. It's close to 7 p.m., so we're getting some shade on her now. But I have some of these earlier node points covered up, and I really want to keep that going coming out here so we have a nice big root system on this plant. So I'm going to try and get these all covered up before it's time for dinner. I'll pop. Alright, so I almost got all the nodes covered that I want to cover. I just wanted to show you close up what I'm doing. This is a finished product, so you can see the massive mud pie that I just put right over the node, but I didn't cover up the tertiary vine coming out, and I didn't cover up the flower coming out. So each node point is a massive growth spot. So each one has a leaf, a flower, a tendril, and another vine coming out of it, as well as a root coming straight out of the bottom. And if you put soil on the top like I'm doing here, you'll get a root to come out of the top of the vine and turn back into the soil, doubling the root system. So I've already done all the ones that I want to do over there. I just have one more right in front of us that I want to cover up and show you how I'm doing it. I have the garden soil here mixed up very wet. Echo pop. Out. You pulling them? Hey. Out. Quit messing up my fabric boil. Come on. Yeah, you stay out of there. It took me a long time to put that fabric down. Don't be messing it up, Pop. But I have the garden soil here mixed up really wet. A lot wetter than you would for seed starting mix. Now, I should preface this with the fact that I don't know if this is going to work well. This is just my idea and what I'm doing with my pumpkin this year. The overall concept of covering the nodes is sound. That's what most people do, but my method is a little bit different. But I'm taking a little bit of mud pie here and I'm putting it underneath the node point. You can see I have some powder sprinkled on the node point already. That's mycorrhiza fungi. That's going to really help the root growth. I'll just settle the vine in gently, and that's going to shoot a root straight down into the soil now. And then I'm going to make a bigger mud pie for the top. I want to use something big enough that it's not going to dry out too quickly. And I'm going to put this over the node point, trying to make nice contact with the whole vine here all the way around. But I'm trying not to cover up the flower or the new vine shooting out. So I'm just going to tuck that in right behind the tendril. And then just start building it up here. I don't want to cover the new growth, snuff it out. There we go. We're just going to build up the mound right behind it. Kill any of the pest bugs we see crawling around. And yeah, I'm just going to settle this in so I feel like there's no air pockets in there. Nice little mud pie. And that's it, finished product. Now I will note that I'm not covering up every single node point. I'm kind of doing every other one because I don't want the vine to be completely covered with soil. It can rot if it's just wet all the time. So I'm trying to leave some open vine here and just covering up every other node point. And so far we're getting some pretty good growth out of her. This is the Myco Plus root inoculant that I'm using right now. Any mycorrhiza fungi will do. I think we're pretty good down here. That's exactly what I was going for. So I got the mud pies on this side, and that's also helping hold the whole plant in place so the wind doesn't blow it around as much. I have the bamboo stakes for all the tips so the tips don't get blown around, but those roots setting in really holds the whole plant down. And I was waiting for about 10 to 12 feet before I start looking for a pumpkin to set and pollinate, but we are getting close. I think this might be a good candidate. You can see that female flower. Right here you can see the female flower with the pumpkin already on it. That might be my candidate for the giant pumpkin. I'm hoping to get one pollinated and set before the end of the month. I'll pop. But that's going to be all for this one. We got some good work done in the gardens today. I think I'm going to be doing a garden tour here soon. If you want to keep following along with everything here at Whitt Acres, make sure to subscribe down below. Hit that like button before you leave and you can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching. Good boy.